body. But we choose to let murderers go.
Holmes, for heaven's sake, whatever's going on?
Oh, hello, Watson. You're early. Did you kill all of your patients?
What? Holmes, where have all these wretched bees come from?
I increased the temperature of the room so as to prevent them from hibernating. I needed to take a sample of honey. But it worked, Watson. We will have honey all year round.
Ridiculous and dangerous.
They're domestic bees, Apis mellifera, such industrious workers. Anyway, Watson, I am sorry, but I must leave you. I'm in rather a hurry.
You have a new case?
Yes, but nothing as thrilling as this experiment. A theft of plants at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Kew. I'm helping a minister who's an old friend of mine. You can join me if you like.
Well, I'll admit that I'd far rather accompany you than remain alone here with these workers of yours. Besides, you'll need a helping hand with the flowers you're intending to bring back.
Watson, however did you guess?
For the great Sherlock Holmes to bother with the theft of plants. Come on, admit that you're planning to spoil your little bees with some rare pollens.
Since when did I become so transparent? Let us go.
Okay. Well. Got to keep a fork. Is this the last case? Or oh no, 2 cases left. Oh. Hello, puppet. Do we look there? Another letter. Dear Mr. Holmes, I have finally found the courage to write you a letter. I can scarcely find the words to express my gratitude for your kindness. On that terrible day I believed my life to be ruined. But at the same time I realized there to be one person in the world who truly loved me and who I loved in return. His name we both know. He is Captain Jack Crocker. His love has given me true reason to live, even if we cannot be together in the end. None of this could have happened without you, Mr. Holmes. Yours sincerely, Mary Brackenstone. Someone keep almost some weird personality.
Well, Holmes, here we are at the Royal Botanic Gardens. There's no doubt that this place is beautiful. But are you really intent on investigating the theft of the plants?
Yes, of course.
Oh.
Don't touch anything else, is that clear? Just go and get a bucket of fertilizer. And without turning it over this time. Good day to you, gentlemen. How may I help you? If you are
Hello.
here for a visit, please do come back on Sunday.
I am afraid that it cannot wait. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson. We are investigating the theft of plants that took place here 5 days ago. A remarkable collection, I believe.
So you're the one in charge, eh?
A small favor for a friend. Now, to whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
I am Martin Hamish. I am the Deputy Director of Kew Gardens, and that fellow yonder is Albert. He works here.
I am delighted to meet you. What can you tell us about the plants?
They were rare and exceptional plants. We presented them at our last exhibition. We haven't removed the stand yet. It is still in the large glass house. We only learned of their disappearance the evening after the exhibition, and nobody saw anything.
No doors were forced?
No, but I would imagine that for a thief it would be fairly easy to gain entry, for there are no guards here.
Well, if you don't mind, we will take a look. Now, you say that it is in the large glass house.
Yes, the one just behind me. Just a second, since Albert has nothing else to do. Albert, show these gentlemen where the exhibition was held.
How many people work here?
Only myself, but occasionally 2 students, Albert, whom you have met, and Miss White.
Damn.
Here it is. This is the place where the stolen plants were exhibited.
Thank you. Is there something the matter?
Yes, there is. All right, the plants were valuable and rare, but it seems to me that the tragedy that took place here only 2 days ago has been entirely forgotten already.
What tragedy are you referring to?
The director of Kew Gardens, Mr. Montague Dunn, he died here just 2 days ago.
We're very sorry. We were not aware. The two of you were good friends?
He was my father.
Oh dear. Our condolences. We should not be troubling you. Please do excuse us for the intrusion.
You say that he died here, in the large glass house.
Holmes?
Yes, just here, near the door to the colonial collection. He suffered a heart attack. Just like that. So suddenly. It was terrible. Excuse me, gentlemen, but I cannot remain here. If you need me, I'll be in the reserve. That's the room next to the front of the large greenhouse.
Of course, we understand.
So this just turned into a murder
The
case.
plants were here. All of them were stolen.
Do not touch.
Here is a list of the stolen plants.
Yes.
These trees, with their roots in water, must originate from Louisiana.
Ah, yes, the bayou. I remember our visit in...
According to Albert, this is where his father, Montague Dunn, was found dead. Soil. It should have come from a flower pot. The soil on the side of this flower shelf is the same as that on the ground. Fragments of a flower pot. It fell down here.
What should we do next, Holmes?
This pot was broken fairly recently. A flower pot recently fell down from these shelves and was misplaced.
Prince?
The traces are thinner in some places. These boot marks are fresh. It appears as though someone was dragging their feet. The footprints reveal that someone staggered here. This sign is broken. Something heavy was dropped upon it. Blood. Someone fell violently against this sign, and they were injured in the clash, most likely a head wound.
Well, this seems to be forced.
This door handle is new. It was recently changed. The door was smashed at shoulder height. The esconsson was breached near the handle. The door was forced from the inside of the Colonial Collection room. The handle was changed afterwards.
I think we need to inspect the Colonial Collection room.
All the clues around here are quite suspicious. I need my imagination to make sense of it all.
Okay, so... Three. Put the pot down and... dead. So...
This reconstruction reveals a disturbing fact. Montague Dunn damaged the door of the Colonial Collection room.
He was in a panic, or the door was locked. Was it an accident, or a murder then, I wonder? I think we need to inspect the Colonial Collection.
Yes.
These plants come from all the territories of the British Empire. Very strange. Half of the Colonial Collection is absent. The smell is strong. It is a detergent. These windows were perfectly cleaned.
What? Stone chip.
A fragment of marble, most likely chipped from a statue or sculpture. This broken fragment was the result of a heavy blow. Part of this greenhouse was emptied and thoroughly cleaned. This is one of the outlets of the ventilation system.
Oh, oopsies, in order.
According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building. According to this, they have light and moisture control. Dry tropics. Dry.
Well, this seems like an... Some you're on my... Ah!
These flower pots are beautiful. They are intended to be used for exhibition purposes. The symbol is not from Kew Gardens. Dry. There is a smell of burning. The symbol is not from Kew Gardens.
Seems like Chinese.
A broom handle was half burned. A door handle? Why would anyone throw such a thing in the fire? The door handle to the Colonial Collection and that of the fireplace are made of the same material.
Oh, this is a
Someone
gas mask.
set it alight, but it did not burn. A protective mask. The plants were set alight fairly recently. Some have not completely burned. The remains of a picture frame. Ventilation system. Dry tropics. Seed house. Nursery. Water lily greenhouse. Colonial collection. Palm house. Director's office, cloakroom and laboratory. Reserve.
Yeah. So,
A ventilation system. It should regulate the temperature of the staff buildings. A ventilation system. It should... A water tank.
okay, I guess we use that later on. Let's go to the seed house.
Locked.
Oh, okay. Let's not go to the seed house then.
Locked. Locked.
Okay.
Locked. Locked.
Let's see. There's color. Unmarried.
Albert told us about the tragic death of Mr. Dunn, the late director of Kew Gardens.
Tragic indeed. His heart attack was quite unexpected.
Would you unlock the doors for us?
Do you expect to find the stolen plants there? I am sorry, but those rooms are private.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Can I help you, gentlemen?
Yeah, just in a moment.
A task list for Albert, compiled by Martin Hamish. Sweep out the palm house, scrub the toilets, clean the storage shed tools.
The palm house first. In case we find any. There.
According to this, they have light and moist.
Before. Is white? The third employee, yeah, maybe. We'll search the archives for rare plants. It's botany.
Here it is. That is not the one I need. That is not.
Wait. Full of broken flower bread.
That is not the one I need.
Cocaine toothache
That
drops.
is.
Yeah, that's the one we need.
That.
Well, that's something to do with China. Oh, let's
That is not.
oh. Ah, we have some.
That is not the one.
Marks him. Ah, there's the Divine Scholastic Syndicate for Vegetation Veneration. The members of this syndicate worship Trevan, God King. They strive to obtain spiritual peace and release themselves from the material world. Generous donations are appreciated.
Here it is. The Divine Syndicate is not a supplier to Kew Gardens. Besides, there is no address here. That is not the one I need.
Timor's garden equipment and supplies. We are a premium supplier for all your landscape gardening and timber requirements. Full range supply and delivery of sands, soils, mulches, pots, anything else you may need. 3 Blurton Road,
Here it is.
London. Didn't get a new location.
I asked Inspector Lestrade to take Montague Dunn's body to Scotland Yard.
It's ready for autopsy then. It's ready for autopsy.
Where's the evidence? Tampering?
A membership card for the London Crest Club.
Oh yeah. And is the way now? Okay, my friend, your posters for the great exhibition at Kew Gardens are very beautiful, but it is surely unnecessary to mention all of the staff. My name alone will be sufficient. So, here we have Dionia Carnivorus, Carlina Epriare, Lorem Diabolica, yeah, Diabolical, Romoleana Odorata, Grunus Seratina, Heliampros Tephus Ublis, Enlisa Lashi and Darlingtonia, Krakoukas Ephalaotus.
A beautiful feather pen of a good make. This watch is of great value.
Yeah, some of them were lethal. And this one. Well, this is carnivorous, it's probably something else. And of course the diabolical one. Here we are.
First of all, let us carry out an external examination. There is an injury to the skull, most probably caused by the fall in the water lily greenhouse. The vessels and the pupil of the eye appear quite normal. The air from the lungs carries a faint floral aroma. No redness, stings, or bruises. Nothing suspicious here. There are no suspicious marks upon the chest. Let us finish our external examination so that we can proceed with the autopsy. Now, let us examine the internal organs.
Okay. Why does he have to whistle? Well, how clean it is. Oh, heart, lungs. Oh, this is like surgeon simulator. Well, hello.
The tissue on the inferior lobe of the right lung is damaged, most probably caused by toxins from an unknown plant. The lungs are congested and edematous.
Yeah.
The heart tissue shows no visible pathological signs. The heart's blood vessels show no pathological signs. The liver is enlarged. It would seem that he was suffering from an alcohol addiction.
No, who wouldn't?
The liver tissue is brown. There are no visible pathological signs.
Can we take the intestines? Okay, no.
The stomach tissues show no visible pathological signs. There is a small amount of content. It appears that he breakfasted lightly, only a short while before his death.
Okay.
My suspicions have been substantiated. Montague Dunn, the director of Kew Gardens, died from poisoning. Plant poisoning, to be more exact.
You mean
Yes, it is murder.
we should inform Lestrade?
Yes, but do remember, Watson, that I discovered the murder. The challenge is mine.
The challenge, Holmes?
We need to locate that deadly plant. Such a perfect murder appeals to me.
Murder of any kind appeals to you. Is that all we need to do?
No, we also have the people working at Kew Gardens. Martin Hamish and the son of the victim, Albert Dunn.
And also Miss White, of whom we spoke with Mr. Hamish. Should we bring them all here for interrogation?
No. A few innocuous questions at Kew will suffice, as well as a discreet delve into their personal affairs. Yes, Watson, it is time now to open the doors.
Even those in the staff building? I suppose that is necessary.
We should also be concerned with the victim himself. After all, we don't know very much about Montague Dunn.
You're enjoying this already, aren't you?
More than a little.
Hell. Theft and murder. So, the Chinese murdered him. For reasons, I think. Yes, and occasionally shooting bad guys. Now first, let's go talk to the son. Count three things. So, red eyes, whipped, consumed by grief. Shaving gut. Clean hands. Start with the obvious question.
Do you work here?
Yes, but part-time only, for I'm also studying botany at the University of London.
You're following in your father's footsteps, then. That is commendable.
Well, even if botany is not my strongest suit, there are people who say that I could be a good manager.
We noticed that a part of the colonial collection has been cleared.
Ah. At the moment, I'm just dealing with the storage room. I don't know much about the other rooms.
I imagine that your relationship with your father may have been...
Yes, at least in one of the earlier cases he
Cannot say that he was a
used
kind
his
man,
weapon.
for he never listened to me at all. He forced me to work here. But now, after his death, I've been pondering it over. Perhaps he wasn't so wrong about me after all. I have to follow his path, and I have to manage Kew Gardens. And I can do it. I can be as good as any other who works here.
Do you hold the keys to all of these locked doors?
Yes, you can have them. But I cannot give you the keys to the cloakroom. The employees' effects are private. I am sure you understand.
Who is Miss Margaret White?
Ah, she is the young lady who studies with me.
Ah.
She visits here sometimes to help out with the greenhouses. In fact, she should be here today. She wanted to work at the seed house. That's the small greenhouse across from the large glass
Seed house. Well,
Would you please tell us about Martin Hamish, the deputy director?
Well, I have to tell you that Mr. Hamish is not and has never been the deputy director of Kew Gardens. My father would not have tolerated it.
Indeed? That is most interesting. He told us that he was.
Yes, because he believes that the management should be passed down to him now that my father is dead. But in actual fact, Mr. Hamish only has the honour of being the garden's longest-serving employee. In fact, if we are to think logically at all, it should be me who takes over the management of Kew Gardens.
Do you not have a good relationship with Mr. Hamish?
I suppose so. But we have very little in common. Mr. Hamish loves his plants and Kew Gardens, and I cannot say that I share his passion.
I see. And how was his relationship with your father?
Oh, he hated my father. It was obvious. He would be furious whenever my father boasted of Kew Gardens in the newspapers or at conferences. He was convinced that my father was stealing all of the credit for himself. But my father treated Mr. Hamish in the same way as he treated anyone. Dismissively. With indifference.
Tell me, have you ever heard of the Divine Syndicate?
No, I cannot say that I have.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
okay. Now let's talk to Hamish. Not something. His relationship with Montague.
Are you aware of the Divine Syndicate?
The Divine what? Is this a joke?
No, I am quite serious.
What a ridiculous name. Anyway, I have never heard of this syndicate.
Yes, you have.
Mr. Hamish, can you
Lenin.
explain to us what happened to the colonial collection? It seems somewhat depleted.
But, most likely maintenance work, tidying up.
You're not sure, then? But you're the deputy director.
Well, I am busy. I cannot be everywhere at once.
As deputy director, how was your relationship with Montague Dunn?
To be honest with you, Mr. Holmes, it could have been better. You see, every Tuesday he would carry out his inspection of the gardens, but it was solely to make an impression. Great pretense that he cared at all. He would give out absurd orders, ignoring anyone else's opinion. He would then disappear for the rest of the week. He was what some might call a man of action. I'd say rather he was overzealous and chaotic. So after all, it was no wonder, perhaps, that he ended up like that, if you take into consideration his kind of lifestyle.
You mentioned that Mr. Dunn led a particular lifestyle.
Well, it's no secret that he enjoyed, celebrating, shall we say? He was a member of the London Smart Set. He was famous for it. That
And
he had an eye for the ladies, to put it mildly, Mr. Holmes.
Oh, maybe.
what is your opinion of Albert as a student of botany?
He's useless. I often tell him so, and I can only give him cleaning tasks. Botany is not his life's work, and his father well knew it. He was furious about it.
He was.
Oh, yes. He forced his son to work here, and he never missed an opportunity to criticize him publicly.
Are you able to elaborate on that?
Well, for example, with our last exhibition here, Mr. Dunn had Albert make a presentation speech. But then, while the lad was speaking, Mr. Dunn interrupted him, asking him difficult questions, making him look like a failure. It was with the intention of making a fool of him, Mr. Holmes.
That must have been terribly humiliating.
Yes, he was crushed, and he had to leave. Everybody was making fun of poor Albert. That is, except for Miss Margaret White, who is such a nice lady and who always takes pity on Albert.
You mentioned a Miss White. Would you tell us more about her?
Yeah,
She is a
it
student
was.
who works here part-time. She is quite charming indeed. She possesses a great talent for botany. You should take a look at some of her experiments that she carried out in the laboratory. Ah, if only she were not so naive.
Why naive?
The way she used to flutter around Mr. Montague Dunn. And why, he couldn't help but be flattered by all her attention. How could an intelligent woman such as Miss White not see through his game? I can only scratch my head and wonder.
Tell me, Mr. Hamish, do you grow the more deadly variety of plant here?
You mean insectivorous? Yes, but nothing larger than that.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation. Locked.
Not anymore. Who's that? It's Albert, I guess. Champagne?
French wine. A remarkable vintage.
It's the same.
Champagne. Montague Dunn had good taste. Newspapers discussing Kew Gardens.
Well, the Kew Gardens team are pleased to announce that the successful production of a new variety of barley, one that retains a complete resistance to the cold. They have named it the Siberian barley. Mr. Martin Hamish, the proud cultivator of the craft, will hold a press conference next Monday morning upon this very subject. The breakup. My dearest Margaret, following our last conversation, I believe it might be better if you vacate your position here at Kew Gardens. As you pointed out quite bluntly, you are no longer in need of my support. You are quite able to stand up for yourself in this world, as you say. Well, I give you back your freedom and wish you nothing but good luck. Okay.
A photograph of Montague Dunn and Reynold Hamish.
Okay. Ah, now I get it. Okay. Ah. Yeah, I guess. done. Yeah, it's okay, no, okay. Wow. There we go. It's inside. A letter. My dear friend, please allow me to express my disappointment upon reading your last letter. I am paying you to defend me, not accuse me. Kew Gardens is a royal institution. We are granted the great opportunity to travel the world and to save the most ordinarily precious and rare species of plant. Our duty is to protect such species and from those who might wish to use them for dubious purposes. And this divine syndicate of who speak have no right to hold such precious plants. Remember the case of June 14th, 1889. I must respectfully ask you once again to notarize the permission on these plants on behalf of Kew Gardens. The documents were sent to you on Monday. P.S. See you in Poodles on Tuesday as always.
I suggest that we don't tell Miss Margaret White about this document.
Depth of Miss Margaret White to Miss Montague done. Rental of a suite of rooms at Oxford Street, an educational scholarship at the London University, credits opened at Hamilton, Radigan House, tailors at Baird and Sons, luxury. Okay. Mr. Dunn, must ask you for the last time for the return of our dear sisters. Do not have any right to hold them imprisoned. They do not belong to you. Your so-called permissions are wholly false. You are hiding behind lies. The lie we need not elaborate. That was reported in the press as the case of June 14th, 1889. What you have done is quite abhorrent. We are very sure that we shall never abandon our family member. We trusted you and regret having done so. Divine Syndicate. Yes, and that's why I decided to use that as the title for the stream. Okay. Let's go to the archive first. And yeah. It's the case of there we go. Scandal at Divine Syndicate Club. This Divine Syndicate Club, followers of the god King Trevan, situated on 48 Cross Venor Street, Cartlon Road, protectors of plants and more particularly trees, are currently the subject of an administrative investigation. The leaders of this organization are suspected of financial malfeasance. It may be that this investigation will lead to charges of judiciary. Meanwhile, many voices have risen high against this inspection, denouncing the state. In fact, this private organization, which given as goals the defense and protection of nature and which incorporates many persons of influence, including political representatives of the opposition party.
Here it is. And here is the Divine Syndicate's address. Perfect. It is time to find out what they have against Montague Dunn.
But first let's go and complete our find mission White.
Just
Okay, he doesn't know anything more.
Locked.
Not anymore.
There was a bottle here. It left behind a trace of the substance that pervaded the laboratory.
Gold dust? Good heavens. What's it doing here?
The gold is almost immune to chemical attacks, so it may be a valuable auxiliary for various experiments.
But why would anyone perform such experiments in a botanical garden?
Several drops of the substance were spilled. Someone carried this bottle around. Several drops of the substance were spilled. The bottle is no longer here, but it is possible to detect a faint scent. We need a good nose.
Yes, fetch Toby. Well,
A phonograph used for voice recording. Remarkable.
Yes, this is quite a modern laboratory.
Martin Hamish's perception of plants. The notion of communication in the plant world has long been considered marginal, yet I remain convinced that some plants do indeed transmit chemical signals in the event of attack.
A study report by Martin Hamish.
And it seems clear from these multiple experiments that plants do respond to their environment and have a form of consciousness. Margaret White, February 1895. Report number 245.
Study report.
nothing else. We need to find the...
This is a table for experiments. It resembles my own.
Only this one is kept in good order, Holmes.
What a much on...
Chemicals. A sufficient quantity for some serious experiments.
Okay.
A botany book. This student's book belongs to Albert. It appears as though the protective equipment is missing from here. Such masks are generally worn when dealing with toxic chemicals.
I don't do
Gloves,
really that protective.
waterproof aprons, everything one might need for self-protection.
Do they grow dangerous plants here?
Lock.
Holmes, Albert Dunn didn't give us the key to this door.
It does not matter. We will open it.
Wait a minute. Ah, I see.
Open.
Now,
Miss
yeah,
White's locker. A draft of the letter that Miss White sent to her parents.
let's read it. Dear Mother and Father, I am writing this letter with reluctance to ask for your help. My studies and my housing costs have proven to be more expensive than I had anticipated. I fear, therefore, that I may not be able to manage in the long term. I know that we have had our disagreements in the past, but would you be so heartless as to allow your daughter to fail her studies due to the lack of money? Absolutely.
Apparently, Miss White is a capable student.
Oh, nice. So, dear Margaret, I know how your financial troubles are overwhelming you at this present time. Please let me reassure you. I could not permit you to remain in such a dilemma. I born of wealthy family, I would consider it an honor if you might accept my help.
A vanity purse. It is of high quality.
And another letter. Margaret, we were surprised to receive your letter. How could you think to ask us for money after all these years that have passed since you left, and without any thought of us? You have never shared with us any detail of your success at the university, but you choose to do so now? I suppose you must be ashamed of us, for we are not from the same high class as your new friends. Yes, we are modest people, but you should learn to put your family first, as we at home have always done. And none of us ever compromise their reputation, as it appears you have already. Your employer, Mr. Dunn. No, Margaret, it's you who make us feel ashamed.
These jewels must be worth a small fortune.
Steal them. Okay. No. Either.
Albert's locker. Young Albert, standing with a woman in front of London University. Young Albert. Specialist articles on shipyards and ship construction. Albert Dunn has a great passion for shipbuilding and the sea. A rejection letter from the British Royal Naval College.
Royal Navy School of NCO's Recruitment Centre, London. Sure. It is my regret to inform you that despite your excellent results within our entry examinations, we are unable to invite you into the Royal Navy School. Your father, Mr. Montague Dunn, has expressed his intention to entrust to you the directorship of the Royal Botanic Gardens in Kew, and it is clear that he would not release you for an entire year of naval training. Please accept all our best wishes for your future at Kew Gardens. Yours, very faithfully, J.M. Lemarchand, Director of the Royal Navy Training Center. So he wanted to get away.
Martin Hamish's locker. Father and I, Kew Gardens. A review on rare and exotic plants. Martin Hamish has written several pieces. Martin Hamish studied chemistry. Interesting.
General Secretary. Recent events unfolding at Kew Gardens oblige me to renew my application for the management position. As I have stated already in my previous letters, I believe that no one is better suited for the post. While Mr. Montague Dunn was alive, I understood your reservation to my succession. Your reasons were political, and so I was happy to comply. But now the Kew Gardens lie in disorder. How can I stand by and allow it? How can I leave them in the hands of inexperienced people with no motivation? I must urge you to cast your decision as a matter of urgency, so that I may devote myself entirely to the noble task ahead, free my mind from this uncertainty. We need to fetch